On a frozen January night in 1909, a trolley conductor in Burlington, New Jersey, slammed the emergency brake so hard that passengers were thrown from their seats. Standing on the tracks ahead, illuminated by the electric headlamp, was something that shouldn't exist. 6 feet tall, bat wings spread wide, glowing red eyes, hooves where feet should be. The creature turned its horse-like head toward the screaming passengers, released a sound one witness described as halfway between a squeal and a growl, and launched itself into the winter sky, disappearing over the rooftops of South Jersey. Within 1 week, over 1,000 people would report seeing this thing. Schools would close. Factories would shut down. The Philadelphia Zoo would offer a reward for its capture. Armed mobs would patrol the streets of small towns throughout the Pine Barrens. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished. This is the story of America's oldest and most enduring cryptid legend. A creature born not from recent folklore, but from a curse allegedly spoken in 1735. A monster that connects colonial superstition, regional poverty, media manipulation, and the very real human need to explain the darkness that lives in isolated places. This is the Jersey Devil, and somehow, after nearly 300 years, we still can't explain it away. Before we can understand the monster, we need to understand the place that created it. The New Jersey Pine Barrens is approximately 1.4 million acres of coastal forest in southeastern New Jersey. To put that in perspective, that's larger than the entire state of Rhode Island. It's a vast wilderness of pitch pines, Atlantic white cedar swamps, and something locals call sugar sand, acidic sandy soil that makes traditional farming nearly impossible. Despite being sandwiched between Philadelphia and New York City, two of the largest metropolitan areas in America, much of the Pine Barrens remains rural, undeveloped, and genuinely isolated. You can drive for miles without seeing another person. The forest is so dense that search and rescue teams still occasionally get lost, looking for missing hikers. This is what folklorists call a pathological place, a geographic space that seems to generate and sustain monster legends far more effectively than surrounding areas. Think Loch Ness. Think the Bermuda Triangle. Think the Pacific Northwest for Bigfoot. The Pine Barrens is America's original pathological place. In the 18th century, Quakers and other colonial settlers moved into this region, attempting to farm the land. They failed spectacularly. The acidic soil refused to cooperate. Crops withered. Livestock struggled. The only industries that survived were bog iron production, mining the iron-rich deposits in the swamps, and later, cranberry and blueberry farming. The result was extreme isolation and grinding poverty. Communities became insular. Outsiders were viewed with suspicion, and the residents themselves, often derisively called Pineys by people from the cities, were stereotyped as backward, superstitious, and possibly inbred. This is the crucial context. The Jersey Devil wasn't born in a vacuum. It emerged from a place where people were already isolated, already struggling, already viewed as other by mainstream society. When your community is poor, isolated, and stigmatized, and strange things happen in the dark forest surrounding you, you need an explanation. You need something to blame. You need a story that makes sense of senseless hardship. Enter the devil. The legend begins in 1735 at a place called Leeds Point, deep in the Pine Barrens. According to the most common version of the story, a woman, referred to as Mother Leeds, though her first name varies depending on who's telling it, Deborah, Jane, or Mary, was pregnant with her 13th child. 13 was already an unlucky number, steeped in superstition, and Mother Leeds was reportedly poor, exhausted, and furious at the prospect of yet another mouth to feed. During a violent thunderstorm as she went into labor, she allegedly screamed, "Let this one be a devil," and her wish apparently was granted. The child was born normal at first, but within moments, according to witnesses who may or may not have actually existed, the baby began to change. Its body stretched and twisted. Leathery wings erupted from its back, its feet hardened into cloven hooves, its face elongated into something horse-like, with glowing red eyes and a mouthful of sharp teeth. A long forked tail uncurled behind it. The midwives and family members present screamed and fled. Mother Leeds herself reportedly fainted. and the newborn demon, now fully transformed, looked around the room with those burning eyes, released an unearthly shriek, and escaped up the chimney into the storm. It's been hiding in the Pine Barrens ever since. Now, here's where we separate legend from history, because while this story is fantastic and terrifying, there's no contemporary documentation of it, no birth records, no church documents, no diary entries from 1735 mentioning a demonic birth in Leeds Point. The story seems to have been passed down orally for generations before being written down in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. And like all oral traditions, it changed with each telling. But here's what we do know for certain. The Leeds family was real. Daniel Leeds was a prominent colonial settler in South Jersey, a surveyor and almanac publisher. His almanacs were popular, so popular in fact that they competed with Benjamin Franklin's almanacs. And Franklin, being Franklin, didn't appreciate the competition. Franklin began a smear campaign, accusing Daniel Leeds of occultism and devil worship because his almanacs contained astrological charts and esoteric symbols. Later, Franklin targeted Daniel's son, Titan Leeds, with similar attacks, even writing satirical pieces predicting Titan's death. The Leeds family, despite being successful and influential, became associated in the public imagination with darkness, curses, and the occult. When you combine that reputation with the isolation and superstition of the Pine Barrens, you get the perfect conditions for a monster myth to take root. The Jersey Devil, in other words, may have been born not from an actual curse, but from colonial-era trolling and regional prejudice. But that doesn't explain what happened in 1909. Speaking of devils, do you know what's absolutely demonic? Watching a video about a legendary cryptid and not hitting the like button. I'm not saying the Jersey Devil will personally visit you if you don't subscribe, but I'm also not saying it won't. The only way to protect yourself is through engagement metrics. Science fact. January 16 through the 23rd, 1909, remains one of the most concentrated mass hysteria events in American history. It started small. A few people in Bristol, Pennsylvania reported seeing strange tracks in fresh snow, hoof-like prints that appeared to leap over fences, walk up walls, and cross rooftops. The tracks were bizarre, about 6 inches long, spaced 4 feet apart, sometimes appearing on surfaces that shouldn't have been able to bear weight. Then the sightings began. A trolley car in Burlington stopped dead on the tracks because the driver saw a winged creature blocking the way. A social club in Camden was allegedly attacked by something that beat against the windows with clawed hands. A police officer in West Collingswood fired at a flying shape and watched it disappear into the night. A farmer found his chickens slaughtered, arranged in a pattern that made no sense. Over the course of 1 week, newspapers reported approximately 1,000 separate encounters with the Jersey Devil across South Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania. Schools closed. Parents kept children inside. Factories shut down because workers refused to walk through dark areas to reach their shifts. The Philadelphia Zoo, an actual scientific institution, offered a reward for the creature's capture. Armed puzzes formed, patrolling the streets of small towns, ready to shoot anything unusual. The Trenton Times ran daily updates. The Asbury Park Press published eyewitness sketches. The Philadelphia papers treated it as a legitimate news story, not a joke. This wasn't a few isolated weirdos claiming they saw something. This was mass panic on a scale that's hard to comprehend today. Imagine if Bigfoot appeared in Seattle, and within a week, 1,000 people reported seeing it. Schools closed, and the city zoo offered a bounty. That's the level of cultural disruption we're talking about. And then, just as quickly as it started, it stopped. By the end of January, sightings dropped to near zero. The devil vanished back into the Pine Barrens, and life returned to normal. What happened? There are 3 main theories. Theory 1. It was real. Believers argue that the consistency of descriptions across hundreds of independent witnesses suggests something genuinely anomalous was present. The tracks couldn't be easily explained. The sightings came from credible people, police officers, business owners, factory workers, not just attention seekers or the mentally unstable. Cryptozoologists point out that large, undiscovered species have been found in remote areas before. The coelacanth, a fish thought extinct for 65 million years, was discovered alive in 1938. The mountain gorilla wasn't scientifically documented until 1902. If something intelligent and elusive wanted to hide in 1.4 million acres of dense forest, it could. Theory 2. Mass hysteria amplified by media. Skeptics argue that the 1909 outbreak was a textbook case of social contagion. A few genuine misidentifications, perhaps a sandhill crane, an owl, or a dog with an unusual gait, were reported. Newspapers, hungry for sensational stories, amplified these reports. Readers, primed by centuries of Jersey Devil folklore, began seeing the creature everywhere. Psychologists call this expectant attention. When people are told to look for something specific, they start seeing it even when it's not there. Add in the winter darkness, the isolation of rural communities, and the genuine fear that accompanies any mass panic, and you create a feedback loop where sightings beget more sightings. There's strong evidence for this theory. Several Jersey Devils were revealed to be hoaxes. A Philadelphia museum owner, desperate for publicity, painted a kangaroo with green stripes and clawed feet and exhibited it as the captured devil. Other pranksters admitted to creating fake tracks or spreading false rumors. Theory 3. It's a scapegoat for regional shame. This is the most psychologically interesting theory, and it's where the pathology of place concept becomes crucial. Folklorists and sociologists have noted that the Jersey Devil serves a specific cultural function for the people of the Pine Barrens. It's a symbol of their historical marginalization. The Pineys were poor, isolated, and mocked by outsiders for generations. They were called backward, ignorant, dangerous. The Jersey Devil is all of those things. It's monstrous. It's unpredictable. It's dangerous. It lives in the same woods they do. And by embracing the legend, the residents of the Pine Barrens reclaim the narrative. The devil becomes a source of regional pride. A way of saying, yes, we're from a dark, dangerous place. We're from the land of monsters. And we're still here. Today, the Jersey Devil is the official mascot of New Jersey's NHL team. It's on t-shirts, coffee mugs, and tourist brochures. What was once a symbol of fear has become a symbol of identity. The monster didn't destroy the community. It defined it. By the way, if you're enjoying this deep dive into American cryptid psychology and you haven't subscribed yet, I have to ask, are you secretly the Jersey Devil? Because that's exactly the kind of chaotic, inexplicable behavior I'd expect from a 300-year-old forest demon. Prove you're human. Click the button, you know which one. So here's where we stand. Nearly 300 years after the alleged birth and over a century after the 1909 outbreak, no physical evidence has ever been conclusively verified. No bones, no DNA, no clear photographs. The tracks found in 1909 were documented, but never definitively explained. Some were certainly hoaxes. Others remain genuinely puzzling. Sightings continue sporadically. In 2015, a man in Galloway, New Jersey, captured footage of something large and winged flying over a golf course. In 2021, a family in Little Egg Harbor reported finding strange tracks and hearing unearthly screams in the middle of the night. Police investigated. They found nothing conclusive. The New Jersey Pine Barrens remains one of the most reliably haunted regions in America, not because of ghosts, but because of this single enduring legend. And that's the true mystery, not whether the Jersey Devil exists as a biological creature. It almost certainly doesn't. The real mystery is why, after 3 centuries of investigation, debunking, and rational explanation, the legend refuses to die. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. We want it to be real. We need places like the Pine Barrens to be dangerous. We need dark forests to contain dark things. We need monsters hiding just beyond the reach of our electric lights and smartphones, because without them, the world becomes too knowable, too mapped, too safe. The Jersey Devil survives because it represents something fundamental about human psychology, our need for mystery, for danger, for the unknown. In Supernatural, yeah, we're circling back to pop culture for a second. Sam and Dean Winchester spent 15 seasons hunting monsters, and every time they killed one, another appeared, because the monsters were never really the point. The hunt was the point. The search for meaning, in a chaotic, frightening world, was the point. The Jersey Devil is the same. It doesn't matter if it's real, it matters that people keep looking for it. So what can we learn from the Jersey Devil? First, understand the grief-to-myth pipeline. The Jersey Devil emerged from a community dealing with poverty, isolation, and social stigma. When people are suffering and lack control over their circumstances, They externalize that pain into stories. The monster becomes a way to process collective trauma without directly confronting it. If you want to understand any cryptid legend, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, Mothman, start by asking, what was the community experiencing when this legend emerged? What fears were they unable to articulate? What shame were they trying to deflect? Second, recognize the power of place. Not all locations generate monster legends, but certain types of places do. They're usually liminal spaces, forests, swamps, deep lakes, abandoned buildings, where the boundary between civilization and wilderness feels thin. These are the pathological places where human anxiety pools and concentrates. The Pine Barrens is dark, isolated, and genuinely dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. It's the perfect breeding ground for folklore, because it's a place where being scared makes evolutionary sense. Third, separate the contaminant from the host. The Jersey Devil legend has three distinct layers: the original colonial-era story, the 1909 mass hysteria, and the modern cultural identity symbol. These layers are often conflated, but they serve different functions and emerged from different needs. If you want to analyze any legend responsibly, you have to separate these layers. What's the core story? What was added during moments of crisis? What was retrofitted later for commercial or cultural reasons? This is the skill that separates serious folklore research from cryptid tourism, and it's the skill that lets you appreciate the legend without needing it to be literally true. Quick thing before we wrap up. If this video made you think differently about American folklore, monster legends, or the way communities process trauma through storytelling, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you want more investigations into the dark genealogy of American cryptids, myths, and historical mysteries, subscribe to Chthonic Atlas. We're basically doing criminal profiling for folklore, and honestly, that's way more interesting than most of what's on TV. The Jersey Devil was never captured. It was never killed. It was never definitively proven to exist or not exist, and that's exactly why it endures. In 1735, a community told a story about a cursed child to explain their hardship and their outsider status. In 1909, newspapers amplified that story into a mass panic that revealed how fragile the line between reality and hysteria really is. And today, the legend has been fully absorbed into the regional identity of South Jersey, transformed from a source of fear into a source of pride. The Pine Barrens remains what it has always been, a vast, dark, and isolated wilderness where the line between the known and unknown feels dangerously thin. The perfect place for monsters to hide. The perfect place for legends to grow. Whether the Jersey Devil is real or not doesn't actually matter, because the fear is real. The need for explanation is real. The desire to believe that the world still contains mysteries is real. And as long as those needs exist, the devil will keep flying through the winter skies of South Jersey, just beyond the reach of our headlights, forever glimpsed but never caught. The contamination is permanent. The mystery remains unsolved, and maybe, just maybe, that's exactly how it should be. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more.